Separation of photosynthetic pigments by paper chromatography and measurement of their RF values. Principle. The principle involved is partition chromatography, wherein the substances are distributed or partitioned between liquid phases. One of the phases is the water, which are held in the pores of the filter paper or the chromatography strip what we used, and the other is the mobile phase, which moves over the paper. That is the solvent mixture, which is made up of petroleum ether and acetone in the ratio of 9:1. The compounds in the mixture get separated due to the difference in their affinity toward water, that is the stationary phase, and the mobile phase, that is the solvent, during the movement of mobile phase under the capillary action of pores in the chromatography papers. Material required: the chromatography jar, chromatography strips, solvent mixture, that is the 80% acetone and petroleum ether in the ratio of 9:1. That is the petroleum ether is in 9 part and acetone 1 part. And some spinach leaves and a piece of carrot as a source of pigment, and a hair dryer, micropipette tip or capillary tube, you can use any one of them, mortar and pestle. Preparation of the pigment extract: cut or tear the spinach leaves without containing any midribs and veins. Add few pieces of grinded carrot in mortar and grind it gently in order to homogenize the tissues to extract the pigment content. Grind thoroughly until the tissues become homogenized. Descend the liquid into a test tube by filtering with cotton cloth and centrifuge it for 5 minutes at 3000 rpm. Collect the supernet and use it as a source of pigment. Take a chromatography strips and draw a line at the base of the pointed end of the strips. And with the help of micropipette tip, spot a drop of pigment on one end of the chromatography strips at pointed end by leaving 1 inch. Allow the spot to dry up. You can also use hair dryer to speed up the drying. Repeat the spotting process at least 8 to 10 times until enough amount of pigments are loaded. The pigment loaded paper is inserted in a jar which contains the solvent mixture, that is the petroleum ether and acetone in the ratio of 9:1, and allow the spot to run in the chromatography papers along with the solvent. Allow the chromatograph to run half to 1 hour until the solvent reach the line marked at the top of the chromatography strips. Remove the paper and dry it using hair dryer. Immediately mark the place of various color in the paper and distance traveled by the solvent with the help of pencil. You can see the first one is the chlorophyll B, and next is the chlorophyll A, xanthophyll, and the carotene. Record the distance between the loaded spot and the end of the solvent front and the distance between each pigment, and calculate RF for each pigment. RF can be calculated by the distance traveled by the pigment over the distance traveled by the solvent, and RF is the retention factor. RF value of these pigments are always less than 1 and it doesn't contain any unit.